Гульнас Кашкимбаевна, Валерия Алексеевна, все коллеги, добрый.
Говорят, Кассина, перезвоню, мне защита. Так, ну что, коллеги, все собрались, да? Запись включили? Все, можно начинать? Начинаем тогда.
Камера.
Камера, все, да? Рецензенты здесь. Все, да, все здесь. Good afternoon, dear members of the Dissertation Council, dear colleagues and guests. Let us begin with the main item of today's agenda. There is a quorum for the meeting of the Dissertation Council for the Educational Program Foreign Languages to Foreign Languages, date May 29, 2026. According to the registration list, 6 out of 7 members of the Council are present, including permanent members of the Council. Тлеужанова Гульнас Кашкимбаевна, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor, General Pedagogy, History of Pedagogy and Education, Ethnopedagogy, offline. Костина Екатерина Алексеевна, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor, Theory and Methods of Professional Education, online. Екатерина Алексеевна is here. Is here, yes?
Yes.
Бурмистрова Валерия Алексеевна, Candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Associate Professor, Theory and Methods of Professional Education, offline. Here. Саржанова Галия Байжумаевна, Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, Associate Professor. The academic secretary is absent today. She is on an official business trip. In addition, temporary members of the Dissertation Council. Джантасова Дамира Дуатовна, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Associate Professor, Theory and Methods of Professional Education, Karaganda Technical University, named after Абелкас Сагинов, offline. Кобжасарова Умыт Ибжановна, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Associate Professor, Karaganda National Research University, named after Букетов, offline. Кушнир Марина Петровна, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, General Pedagogy, History of Pedagogy and Education, National Center for Professional Development of Leo, Institute of Professional Development in Karaganda region, offline. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, dear colleagues, I propose to begin the meeting. Who is in favor? Any objections? Also, excuse me, my Germany. Иногда у меня проскальзывает немецкий. The meeting of the Dissertation Council is declared open. Today's agenda is the defense of the dissertation by Айжан Булатовна Набиева, entitled Formation of Foreign Languages Pragmatic Competence of Future English Teachers Through the Use of Web 2 Technologies, submitted for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the educational program Foreign Languages to Foreign Languages. The language of the defense is English. The research was carried out at the Department of Theory and Methodology of Foreign Language Training at Karaganda National Research University, named after Букетов. Scientific supervisors: Татьяна Юрьевна Шелестова, PhD, Associate Professor, Karaganda National Research University, named after Букетов, Karaganda, Kazakhstan. Janusz Taborek, Dr. Hab, Professor, Adam Mickiewicz University, Poznań, Poland, online. Thank you. Official reviewers' participation in the meeting of the Dissertation Council. Yaroslav Krajka, PhD in CAL, Associate Professor at the Department of Applied Linguistics, Maria Curie Skłodowska University, Lublin, Poland, online. Жайнаш Жумахмед Каза Нуржанова, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Pedagogy, History of Pedagogy and Ethnopedagogy, Associate Professor at the Department of Theory and Praxis of Foreign Languages, Gumilov Eurasian National University, Astana, Kazakhstan, offline, yes. The dissertation is submitted for defense for the first time. Are there any proposals or on the agenda? No proposals. Are there any comments on the agenda? No comments. The agenda is approved. To present the personal file of the doctoral candidate, the floor is given to the Acting Academic Secretary of the Dissertation Council, PhD, Associate Professor Burmistrova Valeria Alexeyevna. Please.
Good afternoon, dear members of the Dissertation Council. The following documents have been submitted from Ayjan Bulatovna Nabiyeva for consideration by the Dissertation Council. The first document, application of the candidate for admission to the defense, received on March the 3rd, 2026. The second one, the dissertation in printed form and in an electronic format, CD. Number 3, personal record certified by the HR Department of Karaganda National Research University named after Buketov. Number 4, notarized copies of bachelor's and master's diplomas with transcripts. Number 5, a copy of the transcript of the doctoral study program certified by the university. 6, reviews from the domestic and foreign scientific supervisors. Number 7, a copy of protocol number 5 of the extended meeting of the Department of Theory and Methodology for Foreign Language Training approved by the Vice Rector for Research with positive decision and recommendation for defense. The meeting was held on November the 5th, 2025. Number 8, reviews of the official reviewers. 9, a report from the National Center for State Scientific and Technical Expertise confirming the plagiarism check. Number 10, a certificate confirming submission of the dissertation and abstract to the Library of Karaganda National Research University named after Buketov. A copy of the protocol of the Academic Council approving the dissertation topic and scientific supervisors, a copy of the Rector's order granting permission for the defense, and the last document, a list of scientific publications certified by the Academic Secretary of Karaganda National Research University named after Buketov. Information about the doctoral candidate. From 2013 to 2017, Ayjan Bulatovna Nabiyeva studied at Buketov Karaganda State University in the program Foreign Philology, English, and received a bachelor's degree. From 2017 to 2019, she continued her studies in the master's program at Karaganda University named after academician Buketov in Foreign Philology. From 2021 to 2024, she studied in the doctoral program at Karaganda University named after academician Buketov in the educational program AD 01702 Foreign Language to Foreign Languages. During her studies, she completed an international research internship at Adam Mickiewicz University Poznan, Poland in October 2023. She started her professional career in 2018 in the Department of Theory and Practice of Translation at Karaganda State University named after academician Buketov. At present, she works as a senior lecturer at the Department of Theory and Practice of Translation at Karaganda National Research University named after academician Buketov. On the topic of the dissertation, she has published a total of 10 scientific works, including 1 article in a Scopus indexed international journal, 3 articles in journals recommended by the Committee for Quality Assurance in Science and Higher Education of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan, 4 papers in international scientific conferences, 2 authors' certificates, a study guide, and methodological recommendations. And she has also developed a course on the Newport platform. All materials submitted by Ayjan Bulatovna Nabiyeva meet the requirements of the Committee for Quality Assurance in Science and Higher Education of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Valeria Alexeyevna. Are there any questions to the acting academic secretary or to the candidate? No questions. To present the main content of the dissertation, the floor is given to the candidate Ayjan Bulatovna. Ayjan Bulatovna, please. Ayjan Bulatovna.
Thank you. Good morning, respected chair and respected members of the Dissertation Council, distinguished members, distinguished reviewers, colleagues, and guests. Please allow me to present the results of my doctoral research entitled Formation of Foreign Language Pragmatic Competence of Future English Teacher Through the Use of Web 2 Technologies. The relevance of the research is determined by the growing demand for future English teachers who are able to communicate appropriately and effectively in multilingual and multicultural contexts. International frameworks such as the CFR, TESOL, ACTFL, CAPE, and EPOSTL emphasize pragmatic competence as an essential component of communicative competence and an important requirement for future English teachers. At the same time, current educational reforms and policy documents in Kazakhstan increasingly emphasize the preparation of professionals with strong communicative, intercultural, and digital competences, where the teacher is viewed not merely as a transmitter of linguistic knowledge, but as a mediator of appropriate communication in multilingual and multicultural contexts. However, pragmatic competence, which directly addresses these issues, still remains underrepresented in EFL teacher education. The research is grounded in four theoretical perspectives: pragmatics and interlanguage pragmatics, communicative competence theories, pragmatic competence in teacher education, and technology-enhanced language learning. Together, they provided the theoretical foundations for integrating Web 2 technologies into pragmatic instruction. The study was based on three major contradictions. First, between the growing demand for pragmatically competent English teachers and the insufficient attention to pragmatic competence in EFL teacher education. Second, between the pedagogical potential of Web 2 technologies and their limited methodological integration into pragmatic instruction. Third, between the need for systematic pragmatic training and the absence of a localized instructional model for the Kazakhstani EFL context. These contradictions led to the research problem: the lack of a theoretically grounded and empirically validated model for forming foreign language pragmatic competence through Web 2 technologies. To address this problem, the aim of the research was to develop an experimentally verified Web 2-based model for forming foreign language pragmatic competence in future English teachers. The object focused on the process of pragmatic competence formation, while the subject addressed the proposed instructional model. The hypothesis assumed that if Web 2 technologies are integrated systematically and pedagogically into pragmatic instruction, then the level of students' pragmatic comprehension and production will improve, since these technologies provide authentic, interactive, and reflective learning environments. To achieve the stated aim, the research was structured around four interconnected tasks, including the theoretical substantiation of foreign language pragmatic competence, identification of the linguistic and didactic potential of Web 2 technologies, development of the instructional model and its experimental verification in future English teacher education. To address the first research task, a bibliometric and voice viewer analysis of international research was conducted. As can be seen from the graphs, global interest in pragmatic competence has grown significantly over the past decades, particularly in applied linguistics and teacher education. At the same time, the voice viewer visualization demonstrates active international research collaboration, while Kazakhstan remains largely absent from these research networks. This confirmed the relevance of the research novelty of the study within the Kazakhstani context. The analysis of Kazakhstani research demonstrated that only a limited number of studies address pragmatic competence directly. Most existing works focus primarily on general communicative competence or intercultural communication, while foreign language pragmatic competence in EFL teacher education remains insufficiently investigated. As a result, no localized and systematized framework for developing pragmatic competence in future English teachers was identified. As a result of the first research task, the study proposed an author's definition and structure of foreign language pragmatic competence. As shown on the slide, foreign language pragmatic competence is understood as the ability, knowledge and ability to use and interpret language appropriately in pedagogical, intercultural, and real-life communication. The proposed structure includes two dimensions: pragma comprehension and production, and two interconnected subcomponents, pragma-linguistic and socio-pragmatic. The instructional content of the module was organized around speech acts, pragmatic markers, and conversational implicators as core elements of pragmatic instruction, enabling future teachers not only to communicate effectively, appropriately themselves, but also to facilitate pragmatic development in their future learners. To address the second research task, the study analyzed a range of technology-enhanced language learning frameworks, including CAL, MAL, and computer-mediated communication. Within these approaches, Web 2 technologies were characterized by interactivity, collaboration, networking, and learner-generated content, which align with the principles of connectivism. The summer model, INTER, provided the methodological basis for selecting and integrating digital tools into pragmatic instruction. The study further identified the linguistic potential of Web 2 technologies for developing pragmatic competence. Web 2 tools provide authentic input, opportunities for interaction, speech act practice, and contextualized communication. These affordances support the development of pragmatic awareness and help learners produce more contextually appropriate communication. Along with the linguistic dimension, the study identified the didactic potential of Web 2 technologies. These tools support flexible and student-centered learning, collaborative interaction, task variety, immediate feedback, and reflective assessment. Thus, Web 2 technologies support not only the content of pragmatic instruction, but also its organization and assessment. As a result, several Web 2 tools were selected for integration into the instructional model. As shown on the slide, Nearpod served as the core platform, while Flip, Padlet, Interactive YouTube, Canva, and Podcast functioned as spotting tools for pragmatic instruction. Their pedagogical integration was evaluated through the summer model and supported authentic input, speech act production, collaboration, reflection, and peer feedback. The identified theoretical and technological foundations further necessitated the development of a structured instructional model. Therefore, two preliminary diagnostic surveys were conducted to identify existing pedagogical needs related to pragmatic instruction and Web 2 integration. The results revealed three key issues: high awareness of the importance of pragmatics, but limited classroom implementation, and insufficient methodological support and digital integration in pragmatic instruction. In response to the identified pedagogical needs, a structural functional model for forming foreign language pragmatic competence was developed. The model consists of 5 interconnected blocks: the target, conceptual, content, procedural, technological, and evaluation blocks. The target block defines the aim, objectives, and expected outcomes of the model. The conceptual block is grounded in several methodological approaches, particularly communicative, competence-based, TBLT, sociolinguocultural, and connectivist approaches, as well as 2 groups of principles: general didactic and technology-enhanced pedagogical principles. The content block operationalizes the previously presented structure and instructional elements of the foreign language pragmatic competence within the educational process. As shown on the slide, the model integrates three main instructional products: the nearpod-based course, the study guide, and methodological recommendations for technology-enhanced pragmatic instruction. The implementation acts presented below confirm the integration of these materials into the educational process of the Faculty of Foreign Languages. This is the demonstration of practical implementation of the content block. The center presents the interface of the nearpod-based course, while the sides show the official copyright certificates for the developed study guide and methodological recommendations, and together they ensure the practical realization of the proposed model. Here you may observe the program structure of the nearpod-based course. The program included an introductory module, modules devoted to speech acts, and a separate module on conversational implicators, as well as homework sessions for additional practice. All instructional materials were designed around authentic classroom and real-life communicative situations in order to support contextualized pragmatic learning. To verify the effectiveness of the proposed model, a pedagogical experiment was conducted. The experimental work was organized in three stages: the diagnostic, formative, and reflective evaluative phases. The study employed a mixed method research design combining quantitative and qualitative data in order to ensure the triangulation and comprehensive interpretation of the results. The experimental group consisted of 52 future English teachers, while the assessment system included three main instruments: the British Council English Score Test, DCT-based pragmatic assessment tools, and the perception survey. The procedural technological block functioned through 5 pedagogical conditions. First, the required A2+ language proficiency level was ensured through British Council English Score diagnostics. Second, learner motivation was supported through diagnostic surveys and reflective activities. Third, students' ICT competence was ensured through prior university ICT course. Fourth, an authentic digital learning environment was created through the nearpod-centered Web 2 ecosystem. Finally, methodological coherence was maintained through a structured instructional algorithm presented on the next slide. As shown, the instructional process was organized through a 5-stage algorithm grounded in ILP and technology-enhanced instruction. The sequence included the warm-up activates prior knowledge, explicit instruction clarifies pragmatic key rules, awareness-raising tasks help students notice appropriate, inappropriate choices, practice integrates Web 2 tools for authentic performance, and reflection uses rubrics for self and peer evaluation. Together, they ensure systematic development of both pragma comprehension and production through Web 2 enhanced activities. This slide presents examples of the nearpod-based lessons implemented during the formative phase of the experiment. All lessons consistently followed the same instructional sequence from explicit instruction, awareness raising to communicative practice and reflection. Thus, the instructional algorithm was systematically operationalized throughout the course. The evaluation block assessed pragmatic competence through 2 dimensions: pragma comprehension and production. To assess pragma comprehension, a multiple choice discourse task was developed in collaboration with a native English-speaking expert to ensure linguistic and socio-pragmatic accuracy. The assessment tasks were integrated into Nearpod, which automatically generated analytical reports and facilitated systematic data collection throughout the experiment. Pragmatic production was assessed through oral and written discourse completion tasks integrated into Nearpod, Flip, Padlet, and Collaborate board activities. These task formats allowed students to produce context-appropriate speech acts in authentic communicative situations, both individually and collaboratively. To assess pragmatic production systematically, a specialized assessment rubric was developed. The rubric evaluated communicative intention, directness and politeness strategies, mitigation, and overall socio-pragmatic effectiveness. It was adapted from internationally recognized ILP-based assessment frameworks and methodologically localized for the Kazakhstani EFL teacher education context. The CEFR line descriptors were used for evaluating pragmatic competence, since the proposed model operationalizes pragmalinguistics and socio-pragmatic dimensions. 3 CEFR elements were selected: speech acts, pragmatic markers, and conversational implicators. Based on these elements, the descriptors were adapted across CEFR levels from A2 to C1 for evaluating both pragma comprehension and pragma production. Instrument 1 assess students' general foreign language proficiency through the British Council English Score Test. As shown in the left chart, the majority of participants initially demonstrated the B1 level, confirming compliance with the required A2 plus proficiency threshold established as one of the pedagogical conditions of the model. The right chart demonstrates improvement in overall language proficiency after the intervention. The mean score increased from A2 B1 range to the B1 B2 range. The Wilkinson-Saint rank test confirmed that this improvement was statistically significant, with p-value is less 0.05. Instrument 2 also demonstrated substantial improvement in students' foreign language pragmatic competence after the experimental intervention. As shown in the chart, pragmatic comprehension increased from B1 medium level to the C1 high level, while pragma production improved from A2 low level to the B2 medium level. Overall, pragmatic competence increased from the A2 B1 range with a mean score of 49% to the C1 level, reaching 80% in the post-test. And these results confirm that the developed Web 2-based instructional model contributed significantly to the development of both pragma comprehension and production. To confirm the statistical validity of the experimental results, both parametric and non-parametric methods were applied. As shown on the slide, the students' t-test confirmed a statistically significant difference between the pre- and post-test results at p is less 0.05. To strengthen the reliability of the findings, the Wilkinson-Saint rank test was additionally applied and also confirmed the statistical significance of the observed improvement. The perception survey, as the third instrument, was conducted to examine students' attitudes toward the Web 2 enhanced instruction. Responses were concentrated in the agree and strongly agree categories, while no negative responses were recorded. Students particularly highlighted the effectiveness of Web 2 tools for creating an authentic and interactive environment for pragmatic learning. The second part of the survey also demonstrated a high level of overall satisfaction with the instruction, with a mean score of 4.6 out of 5, confirming positive student perceptions and the pedagogical acceptability of the developed instructional model. Overall, as demonstrated in the chart, the students showed improvement across all key indicators. English language proficiency increased by 35%, while overall pragmatic competence increased by 63%, including progress in both pragma comprehension and production. In addition, the perception survey confirmed positive student attitudes toward the instruction and pedagogical effectiveness of the proposed model. In conclusion, the research successfully addressed all 4 research tasks and confirmed the effectiveness of the proposed model. The research clarified the structure of foreign language pragmatic competence, identified the linguistic and didactic potential of Web 2 technologies, developed a structural functional instructional model, and experimentally verified its effectiveness within the Kazakhstani EFL teacher education. Thus, the findings contribute both theoretically and practically to the integration of Web 2 technologies into pragmatic instruction in teacher education. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Ayjan Bulatovna. The presentation is finished. You are welcome, dear colleagues, to ask your questions, please. May you start, maybe? Valeria Alexeyevna, PhD, Associate Professor.
Ayjan Bulatovna, let me start. The first question is, what is the difference between the structural components of the pragmatic competence you offer and the ones which are described in scientific literature? What is the difference? because there are a lot of actually works devoted to pragmatic competence and where you can find the description of its structural components. It is the first question. The second one, do you have any information about the contribution of each pedagogical condition, actually you have determined separately, to the effectiveness of the development of pragmatic competence? I mean the value of each pedagogical condition separately. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Valeria Alexeyevna. So your first question was related to the pragmatic competence structure, and it's like difference from other the pragmatic competence structures that were before like established. Yeah. So the okay. We of course before. Structuring, identifying the structure of pragmatic competence, did a literature review on international works, and mostly we've analyzed the communicative competence models, since pragmatic competence is established as one of the main components or sub-competence of communicative competence. And among communicative competence models, we've considered the Cannon-Swain's model, Bachmann's model, and the CFR framework. And pragmatic competence is considered in a broader in a broader concept of communicative competence, and there is no more focused structure, and especially for the integration for EFL teacher education. That is why, since the importance of pragmatic competence is proved, in the increasing the amount of the international works, we can say that there is a need for the formation of foreign language pragmatic competence, and especially for future English teachers, since they will form this competence not only for themselves, but also they can teach it a pragmatic competence for their future learners. That is why we've decided to identify the structure of foreign language pragmatic competence by the two dimensions. It is operationalized by pragmatic comprehension and production, and also it includes two main its aspects: pragmalinguistics and sociopragmatics. Pragmalinguistics, it deals with the linguistic devices for the speech act realization, and sociopragmatic, it deals with the appropriate language use according to the sociopragmatic or social aspects, dimensions such as the status or the power relation or the level of imposition between the interlocutors. And also we included, as it was contextualized for the EFL teacher education, we included three instructional elements into the structure itself: pragmatic markers, speech acts, and the conversational implicators.
Thank you, but I have one additional moment. Were these components, structural components, mentioned in the scientific literature before you?
Yes, only the aspects that I mentioned about the pragmalinguistics and sociopragmatics, they were considered in the works of Thomas and Casper, but we've also contextualized it for EFL teacher education and added instructional elements.
Okay, thank you. It was the answer, short answer,
Okay.
actually.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the second?
Second question about the pedagogical conditions. So the pedagogical conditions, we've identified 5 pedagogical conditions, and the first one, it was the level of the foreign language proficiency, A2+. So why A2+? Since in the works by in interlanguage pragmatics, such as Casper, Taguchi, Bardovi, Harlik, and others, they emphasize that there should be the intermediate, at least, level of the English language or the foreign language proficiency in order to develop or form further the pragmatic competence. So that's why we put it as the first and the main pedagogical condition. And for this, we use the first instrument, assessment instrument, foreign language proficiency for identifying the level, the initial level of their foreign language proficiency, British English score test, which also confirmed that they were like available condition to form their pragmatic competence in them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next questions. The floor is given to Professor Kostina Ekaterina Alexeyevna.
Thank you. Thank you, Gulnaz Kishkimbevna. And can I ask question by question? Not all the questions at the same time.
Yes.
I think it will be more convenient, yeah? Okay, just concerning your model. I've got so in front of me the scheme of the model and some questions on this model. The first one, in the model we can see 5 approaches: competence-based, communicative, cognitive, and the others. Which approach do you consider the main one, the basic, and why?
Okay, let me answer the other questions related to the approaches. So we've chosen 5 approaches for the model. Competence-based, communicative, cognitive, TBLT, sociolingual, cultural, and connectivist approaches. Actually, in general, I think that they are like a way of the importance is the same in the process of forming the pragmatic competence. But if to highlight the main one, I would say that it's task-based language teaching, TBLT. Because it develops the pragmatic competence in for pragmatic competence, is developed with the help of the contextualized, authentic input and contextualized tasks. That's why the task types and task-based learning is important for forming foreign language pragmatic competence. That's why I would highlight this one as the main one among them.
Okay, thank you. Then about the principles. One of the general didactic principles you put here is learner autonomy. How do you understand it? What is meant by the principle?
So learner autonomy was put as a general didactic. So we grouped 2 major principles: general didactic and technological enhanced and pedagogical principles. And as for the learner autonomy, that emphasizes the student-centered learning, and which is ensured actually with the or by the use of the Web 2 tools, since they provide or they support the active participation. They are interaction oriented. That's why these features completely align with the learner autonomy principle.
And the last question, it's about the outcome block. By the way, in the model, outcome is spelled like outcome. I think it's the slip of the pen, outcome block. Well, about the outcomes, you put here, when you show the levels, you put here low level, which is A2, medium B1, B2, high C1. The question is, when we're speaking about this A2, B1, C1 levels, we mean the language, the level of the language, English language, okay, language proficiency. But the result, in the result, you have to show the building of the pragmatic competence. Yes?
Yes.
Then why do you put here the language levels in brackets?
Okay, thank you for your question, Ekaterina Alexandrovna. Alexeyevna, excuse me. As for the levels given in the outcome and evaluation block, yeah, the A2, B1, B2, and C1 levels, they were adapted from the CEFR framework, and the CEFR framework includes in the structure of communicative competence 3 sub-competences: linguistic, sociolinguistic, and pragmatic competence. And for each sub-competence, they provide this CFR-aligned descriptors. And since we assessed the chosen instructional elements, pragmatic markers, speech acts, and conversational implicators, we take all the lines that were related to the these elements and adapted this CFR descriptors for the evaluation and for identifying the level of achievement of pragmatic competence.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ekaterina Alexeyevna. The floor is given to Professor Kobzhasara Umatabzhanna.
Okay, if it's okay, let me answer this question. Thank you. Thank you, Umatabzhanna. So your first question is related to the Web2 technologies. And I think that blended learning, it's the organization of the lesson, yeah? But Web2 technologies, they can be referred to the blended learning, since these Web2 technologies, they are the generation of the web technologies, the second generation, which has its own characteristics, such as the user-friendly or collaboration, active participation. Web 2 technologies, these are the generation of the web technologies, but blended learning, it's the organization of form of the lesson where we can use Web 2 and other technologies. Yes. Thank you for your question. The works in ILP, interlanguage pragmatics, evidence that explicit instruction, task-based learning, contextualized input, authentic input, and reflective activities, they ensure the increase in forming foreign language pragmatic competence. That is why we've structured 5-stage algorithm where explicit instruction was the most important, since for EFL teacher education context, for EFL students, it is necessary first to give the meta-pragmatic explanation first, then they may practice it throughout the communicative practice stage.
Жанна, поближе, не слышно.
Okay, thank you. Yes, they actually, it's problem-based learning and task-based learning, they overlap in their meaning, yeah, and their, the scope of their usage. That's why I can say that, yes, some, the task-based learning, yeah, it comprised the contextualized tasks. That's why it also may involve some problem-based tasks. For TBLT, I can mention Rod, Ellis, Long, and Martinez as the prominent authors, yeah, who or the researchers who contributed a lot, yeah, in the TBLT in the scope of pragmatic research. Yes. Yes. Yes, yeah, they studied, they used the task-based language learning as one of the approach in order to form and develop the pragmatic competence.
But as I can see, you have some differentiation. I don't think that your work is similar to them. I think you have applied it.
Yeah, of course, it was adapted and contextualized to Kazakhstani context.
Thank you, Matevzhanna. I have some questions too. What are the limitations of Web 2 technologies? The second question, could AI replace Web 2 technologies in the future? And the last question, how did you choose mixed methods design?
Thank you, Gulnaz Kushkinbayevna, for your question. So let me first begin with the first question about the limitations of Web 2 technologies. So when we've studied, analyzed the works related to the Web 2 technologies, yeah, the evolution of Web 2 technologies and pedagogical potential of them, of course, we've considered their limitations and risks as well. And along with the many educational advantages, to the limitations, we may infer the dependence on the stable internet access, one of the limitations, dependence on the users' digital literacy, both teachers and students. Also, Web 2 tools themselves cannot ensure or guarantee the effectiveness of the learning outcome without the meaningful instructional design. And if we use it excessively, excessive reliance on tools, any tools, not only the Web 2, they may cause some cognitive overload, or they may reduce the face-to-face interaction, which is important for forming pragmatic competence. The second question, as related to AI, so AI may open like future the direction for the further investigations, but I think that it would complement rather than completely replace Web 2 technologies, since Web 2 technologies were chosen because of the several reasons, yeah, considering their linguistic and didactic potential, their features as the authentic input, they support the collaboration, they support the interaction, which is essential for forming pragmatic competence, foreign language pragmatic competence. And the third question about the why the mixed method research was design was chosen. Mixed method research design helped us to gain quantitative evidence of the improvements, and with the qualitative insights into students' perception and the learning experience throughout the intervention. And it also helped us to ensure the methodological triangulations to strengthen the validity of the findings.
Thank you. Thank you, Е.А.Букетова. Any questions? The floor is given to Associate Professor Damira Dulatovna.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to say thank you for this very interesting research.
Thank you.
I think that
Yeah. Yes.
But you can understand that now we have Web 3,
Right.
Web 4, and if it is Web 3, it is using AI, blockchain, big data, right, personalized services, or if it is for its smart devices already. My question here, do you use maybe any of the elements according to these changes, technologies changes, in your model, in your research? Maybe some of the elements already implemented outside of modern Web 2 technologies. This is the first question.
Thank you, Damira Dulatovna. So yes, when at the time of the study, when we chose the topic, of course, Web3 and AI-based technologies, they were just growing, and we were not sure about their some maybe ethical implications, yeah, or could whether they could be integrated methodologically, yeah, to the educational context. But at that time, Web 2 technologies, they have already been extensively used in the educational process, and they are linguistic didactic potential for foreign language education was also proved. And we tried to take only those potential features in order to form in this case, foreign language pragmatic competence. But I can say that implicitly Web3 and AI-based technology is but the elements were used since the Nearpod over time has become AI powered tool. At first it was only Web 2 technologies, but the main core platform that we've used for the for structuring the practical course, it's actually then after time became the AI powered tool. That's why we can say that the elements of AI were integrated as well. Of course, that's the good direction for the further investigation.
Включать надо, да?
Yes.
Then I have some question concerning the model. And the first one concerning the features of your, I don't know, the foundation principles of theory or maybe theoretical model on the basis of what you are develop your model. These various maybe philosophical one. And do you have any adaptation aspects into Kazakhstani context that is we can see them inside maybe in the text of your dissertation?
Okay.
And here, do you have, can we use this model outside the Kazakhstan context? Can it be adapted or just according to the national, regional context only?
Thank you, Damira Dulatovna. So as for the theoretical foundations that lie in the for forming the model, yeah, we may say there are several perspectives. For example, we've studied the interlanguage pragmatics that relate to speech act theory, politeness theory, noticing hypothesis, also communicative competence models, digital pedagogy, and technology enhanced learning, yeah, including the connectivism and summer model, which were the theoretical foundations grounded in conceptualizing the Web 2 technologies or for integrating Web 2 technologies into the educational process. And the second question was related to the adaptation to Kazakhstani context. We can say that the adaptation to the Kazakhstani context, it involved the consideration of the, first of all, students' proficiency level and the institutional conditions as well, and the curriculum requirements. Requirements established in the professional standard for teachers, since it directly focused on forming pragmatic competence in future English teachers. And of course, these standards and normative policy documents in Kazakhstan, they require the preparation training of such specialists, especially future teachers who can effectively and appropriately communicate in multilingual and multicultural contexts. And the model, I think that the structure is the structure, the composition of the pragmatic foreign language pragmatic competence is structured in that way, like in universal way, that it can be applied outside as well. But it should be the content, some instructional elements should be contextualized to other EFL contexts, including the educational needs, taking into consideration the educational needs, culturally adapted. Thank you. Yes.
And they are all the structure of them, they're different.
Mm-hmm.
Track model,
Yes.
3 types of technological knowledge for teachers, or red model. Could you just give me some arguments of this? Why have you chosen the summer level?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Summer model by Puente Dura was it's among others the widely one of the widely recognized and used and validated models for selecting and integrating tools into educational process. And Nearpod itself in its own basis has the evaluation assessment based on these levels. That's why we've chosen this summer model purposefully. Nearpod, it's a very effective tool which integrates the assessment, instruction, authentic input, interaction, all within one educational platform.
Okay. And one more question about the DCTs, these discourse completion task instruments.
Yes.
That is shown here in assessment tool. Could you just explain me just the choice of this again?
Yes.
Because there are another instruments, one for technology implementation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. DCTs, discourse completion tests, they were chosen because, first of all, they're grounded in the interlanguage pragmatics principles. Since here we more focus mostly on the technologies, but the forming pragmatic competence. And for pragmatic competence, we need the contextualized communicative situations, scenarios. And DCT, discourse completion tasks, they provide such scenarios.
And one more practical. Sorry for so many
Please,
questions.
yes.
I like to hear research, so that's why. You said in your practical implementation about the awareness raising tasks.
Yes.
What stage? Right? Okay, could you just give me any of the examples, activities that you practicing in your study?
Thank you. Very interesting question. So awareness raising, actually, it's the most important stage of the instructional algorithm, since it's especially necessary for the EFL context, since they do not live or they cannot form the foreign language pragmatic competence like in a native speaking environment. That's why we should raise their awareness pragmatically, and for this we used authentic input, we used the audio video based tasks where they could observe and recognize some appropriate inappropriate choice of the speech acts, where they could just recognize, analyze, and then after that use those pragmatic markers which were, for example, appropriate for the certain speech act in their practice. Yes, yeah. Yeah, appropriate and inappropriate choices. Yeah, for their cognitive processing. Thank you.
Thank you, Damir Duatna. Thank you. It's enough. We have 18. We have 18 questions. Enough. Yes. The floor is now given to the domestic scientific supervisor, PhD, associate professor at Karaganda National Research University named after Buketov, Tatiana Yurievna Shelistova.
Thank you. Well, so I remember myself staying here, so now it is a great pleasure, yes, to provide my scientific supervisor assessment of Ayjan Bulatovna. Well, so dear chairperson, members of the dissertation council, dear colleagues and guests. Well, so it is a great pleasure, as I said, to provide my scientific supervisor's assessment of Ayjan Bulatovna, who has presented her dissertation entitled Formation of Foreign Language Pragmatic Competence of Future English Teachers through the Use of Web 2 Technologies for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the educational program, Foreign Language to Foreign Languages. Well, so before I begin, I would like to sincerely thank the members of Dissertation Council for the thoughtful discussion and the interesting questions raised during today's defense. Well, so I believe that these questions highlighted important, maybe theoretical and practical aspects of dissertation and created the opportunity for meaningful academic discussion. Well, so first of all, I would like to emphasize the particular relevance of this research within the Kazakhstani educational context. So in recent years, foreign language pragmatic competence and interlanguage pragmatics have become important areas of research worldwide, as Ayjan said, due to increase in intercultural communication, well, so globalization, academic mobility, etc. Well, so however, despite growing international interest in this issue, foreign language pragmatic competence has not yet received sufficient theoretical and methodological attention in Kazakhstan. So especially in the professional preparation of pre-service English teachers, or as Ayjan said, future English teachers. So, and this creates an important challenge as future English teachers or pre-service teachers are expected not only to communicate effectively themselves, but also to teach learners how to use language appropriately in different situations. So, and in this regard, the dissertation, the research conducted by Ayjan Bulatovna is highly relevant as it addresses an important but still underexplored area of foreign language teacher education in Kazakhstan and offers a scientifically grounded and practically useful, I think, solution through the integration of Web 2 technologies. Well, so what makes this research particularly valuable is its maybe strong, yes, theoretical foundation combined with clear practical relevance. So based on analysis of contemporary international and Kazakhstani scholarly literature, Ayjan Bulatovna has theoretically substantiated and refined the concept of foreign language pragmatic competence. So identified its structure, components, explored the linguistic and didactic potential of Web 2 technologies, and developed an original model for the formation of pragmatic competence among future English teachers. I would like particularly I would like to mention the practical outcomes of this research, including the course, as Ayjan Bulatovna said, yes, and presented, course English in Context, Communicating with Pragmatic Awareness, developed on the Nearpod platform, as well as methodological recommendations and educational material that can be effectively used in teacher education and professional development programs. Well, so behind these research results, I think lies a great deal of hard work, persistence, academic commitment, and professional growth. At this point, I would like to say a few words about Ayjan Bulatovna as a researcher. Well, so I would like to emphasize that Ayjan Bulatovna's strong research competence. Yes, she demonstrated the ability to conduct comprehensive literature review using reliable international and national academic databases, and to critically evaluate some scholarly sources in the field of pragmatic competence research. And throughout the dissertation process, she showed a clear understanding, of research methodology and the ability to select appropriate theoretical and methodological approaches to study design, to data collection, to data analysis, etc. And she demonstrated a confident and appropriate use of statistical methods and careful selection of relevant statistical criteria for validating research results. From a personal perspective, Ayjan Bulatovna has shown diligence, academic integrity, responsibility, professional confidence, etc. And during the process of conducting this research, she provided herself to be a specialist capable of solving maybe some complex tasks, complex scientific and pedagogical objectives at a high professional level. In my professional opinion, this research, this dissertation represents an independent, original, theoretically grounded, and practically significant scientific contribution to the field of foreign language teacher education, particularly in the area of foreign language pragmatic competence. So Ayjan Bulatovna has successfully achieved the stated research objectives, and the findings of this study make an important contribution to the development of foreign language teacher education. So I fully, as a scientific supervisor, I fully support this research, the dissertation submitted by Ayjan Bulatovna. And I firmly believe that she deserves to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the educational program Foreign Language to Foreign Languages. So I'm confident that the knowledge, research experience, maybe some professional qualities, etc., demonstrated by Ayjan Bulatovna will allow her to contribute, making meaningful contributions to the development of foreign language education and scientific research in Kazakhstan. Well, so I sincerely wish her further professional success, new academic achievements, and continued growth as a researcher, as an educator, etc. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Tatiana Yurina. Thank you. And now the floor is given to the foreign scientific supervisor, Dr. Herr Professor at Adam Mickiewicz University, Janusz Taborek.
Okay, thank you, and welcome from Poznań, from the Adam Mickiewicz University. And I'd like to present or to share the scientific review of the PhD dissertation by Ayjan Bulatovna Nabiyeva, Formation of Foreign Language Pragmatic Competence of Future English Teachers through the Use of Web 2.0 Technologies. And I will present or share only selected points of the review. So, the dissertation by E.A.Buketova Nabiyeva presents a comprehensive and timely study devoted to one of the most relevant issues in modern foreign language education, the development of pragmatic competence among future English language teachers through digital technologies. The title of the dissertation precisely reflects its content and the main research focus, and it clearly indicates both the object of investigation, I mean foreign language pragmatic competence, and the methodological framework, the use of Web 2.0 technologies. The structure of the dissertation fully corresponds to the research objectives and ensures logical coherence between the theoretical, methodological, and empirical parts. The work is organized in a clear and well-balanced manner, and transitions between sections are smooth, and the language of the dissertation is academic, precise, and stylistically appropriate. So, the author demonstrates profound knowledge of linguistic, pedagogical, and methodological theories relevant to the topic, and the theoretical framework includes classical and contemporary models of communicative and pragmatic competence, approaches to teaching pragmatics, and concepts of digital pedagogy. A significant contribution of the dissertation is, of course, the development of an original structural functional model for forming foreign language pragmatic competence in pre-service English teachers. The model was today presented by E.A.Buketova Nabiyeva and was also discussed today. Its main advantage, in my opinion, lies in its integrative nature. It connects theory, pedagogical practice, and modern technology. So, the empirical research is of a high scientific and practical value. It was also said today, this practical value of this dissertation. It's based on experimental teaching conducted among pre-service teachers at Karaganda National Research University. And the research design includes diagnostic, formative, and evaluative stages. Data collection methods combine quantitative and qualitative approaches, and the results are processed using statistical analysis. All was exactly presented by E.A.Buketova. So, the dissertation relies on an impressive number of sources, of course, over 400 references, including recent publications from 2020 to 2024, and internationally recognized authors in linguistics, applied linguistics, and, of course, digital education. So, the scientific novelty of the dissertations lies, in my opinion, first in the introduction of the term foreign language pragmatic competence into the Kazakhstani academic discourse, then the theoretical substantiation and design of a technology-based information model, and third, empirical verification of its effectiveness. It was also exactly showed today. So, the conclusions. In conclusion, E.A.Buketova Nabiyeva's dissertation represents a solid and innovative research contribution to the field of applied linguistics and, of course, language teacher education. So, the study meets all the requirements for a PhD dissertation and has both academic and applied value. The model developed by the author might serve as a methodological framework for similar research and education initiatives aimed at integrating digital tools into the development of communicative and pragmatic competence of future teachers. So, my final assessment, the dissertation is coherent, well-grounded, and innovative. It demonstrates the author's high level of theoretical understanding, methodological competence, and research independence. So I recommend, of course, the dissertation for positive evaluation and awarding of the Doctor of Philosophy, PhD degree. And I also want to add maybe 2 points not included in my official review. So first, during the mentioned 1 month internship in Poland at the University of Poznań at the Faculty of Modern Languages and Literatures, where I work, Ms. Nabiyeva demonstrated a strong academic and research abilities. She actively engaged in scientific discussions, showed also initiative. She proved to be a promising researcher with a highly professional attitude towards scientific work. So we spent a lot of time to discuss a lot of points of her dissertation. And now I see it was a productive time. And second, I would say the dissertation is of a very high academic standard and constitutes to a valuable contribution to the field. So in my opinion, the work fully deserves publication, for example, in the form of academic book, if it's possible. So it was a pleasure to work with Asian Bolatovna Nabiyeva, and thank you for the possibility to be to work on this dissertation with Asian Bolatovna Nabiyeva. So as I mentioned, my final assessment is I recommend the dissertation for positive evaluation and awarding of the Doctor of Philosophy PhD degree. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Janusz Taborek. Thank you for your review. Now the floor is given to the official reviewer, Жайнар Жумахмед Kazanurjanova, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Associate Professor at the Department of Theory and Praxis of Foreign Languages, Gumilev Eurasian National University.
Good day to everyone, dear Chairman and members of the Dissertation Council. I'm very pleased to be here in the famous land and academic Buketova University in Karaganda and take part in the defense of the PhD doctoral dissertation. Now let me fulfill my mission and voice my review. Review of the dissertation titled Formation of Foreign Language Pragmatic Competence of Future English Teachers through the Use of Web 2 Technologies by Nabiyeva Ayjan Bulatovna, submitted for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy PhD in Educational Program Foreign Language to Foreign Languages. The first criteria is the dissertation topic as of the date of approval corresponds to the direction of the science development and program. The substitution of the official reviewer's position is the next. The dissertation research is devoted to a relevant problem of pedagogical science and practice. The first is the dissertation was completed within the framework of a project or target program funded by the state budget, and the connectivist model of a foreign language educational smart environment in Kazakhstani context, necessity, availability, and development strategy. And the dissertation fully corresponds to the priority directions of the development of pedagogical science approved by the Higher Scientific and Technical Commission under the government of the Republic of Kazakhstan, and is based on the following documents: Strategy of Kazakhstan, 2050 Law of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Professional Standards, Addresses by the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, and also the concept of the development of the higher education and science of the Republic of Kazakhstan, National Project Digital Transformation of Education, and law of Republic of Kazakhstan and other documents. The second criteria, scientific significance. The study makes a significant contribution to the field of science, and its importance is clear, substantiated as evidenced by the doctoral candidate publications on the topic of the dissertation, and the main provisions of the research are presented in 10 publications. The doctoral candidate has provided a scientific justification of a model for the formation of foreign language pragmatic competence of future English teachers through the use of Web 2 technologies. And furthermore, the content of instruction aimed at developing pragmatic competence has been clarified. And the study also substantiates the effectiveness and appropriateness of using Web 2 technologies in the formation of pragmatic competence of future English teachers. And the third criteria, principle of independence, is high. The level of independence demonstrated in the completion of the research is high. The doctoral candidate, this independence is reflected in the ability to work with regulatory documents, as well as scientific, methodological, and psychological, pedagogical literature. And the author demonstrates autonomy in working with theoretical material, in organizing and conducting the experimental pedagogical study, in selecting appropriate diagnostic instruments, and in carrying out both quantitative and qualitative analysis of the research results. The four criteria, principle of internal unity, is substantiated. The relevance, 4.1, the relevance of the dissertation research conducted by Жанболатовна Набиева is well substantiated, and the significance of the study is determined by the insufficient development of the problem and the need to provide a theoretical grounded model for the formation of foreign language pragmatic competence of future English teachers through the use of Web 2 technologies. And while the international body of research contains a considerably number of studies devoted to the development of foreign language pragmatic competence, as well as the numerous works exploring the use of information technologies in foreign language teaching, it should be noted that within the Kazakhstani context, this issue remains insufficiently explored and lacks systematic theoretical and methodological elaboration. And despite the existence of a number of studies in the field of pragmatic competence development and the integration of modern ICT into foreign language education, several important issues remain under researched, particularly in the national context. The first is the component structure of foreign language pragmatic competence has not been clearly defined. Pragmatic markers serving as a basis of its formation have not been systematically identified. And the second is the linguodidactic properties of Web 2 technologies that can support the development of pragmatic competence have not been sufficiently specified. And the third is a comprehensive model for the formation of pragmatic competence of future English teachers through Web 2 technologies has not yet been developed. 4.2, the content of the dissertation corresponds to the stated research topic. The doctoral dissertation consists of an introduction, 2 chapters, a conclusion, a list of references, and 8 appendices. And the 4.3, the main aim and objectives of the study corresponds to the topic of the dissertation. And the aim of the research is to provide a scientific justification to develop and to verify the effectiveness of a model for the formation of foreign language pragmatic competence of future English teachers through the use of Web 2 technologies. And the research objectives reflect a logical sequence of steps necessary to achieve the stated aim. 4.4, the dissertation demonstrates internal coherence, and all its sections and provisions are logically interconnected, and the scientific apparatus of the research reflects the interrelation of all its components. and through which the content of the topic and the validity of the obtained results is substantiated. 4.5, the new solutions proposed by the author are well argued and supported by a convincing evidence base, and the author has conducted critical analysis of scholarly works related to the development of a model for the formation of foreign language pragmatic competence of future English teachers through the use of Web 2 technologies. Criteria number 5, principle of scientific novelty, completely new. 5.1, the scientific results and provisions of the study are new. Research result number 1 is new. The theoretical and methodological foundation for the formation of foreign language pragmatic competence in future English teachers are substantiated, including its definition, structure, pragmalinguistic and socio-pragmatic competencies, and contents, speech acts, pragmatic markers, and conversational implicatures realized through pragmatic comprehension and production. Research result number 2 is new. The linguistic and didactic potential of Web 2 technologies is identified as an integrated system, including authentic input, interaction, cross-cultural communication, learner-centeredness, and task variety, collaboration, monitoring, feedback, and assessment, ensuring effective formation of pragmatic competence. Research result number 3 is new. A model for forming foreign language pragmatic competence through Web 2 technologies is developed, comprising target, conceptual, content, procedural, and evaluation outcome blocks, and implemented through staged instructions, pedagogical conditions, and appropriate digital tools. Research result number 4 is new. The effectiveness of the proposed model is experimentally confirmed, demonstrating improved levels of pragmatic comprehension and production, as well as learners' ability to communicate appropriately in diverse sociocultural contexts. 5.2, the conclusion is of the dissertation are new, completely new, and reflect the achievement of the stated aim and objectives of the study. The content of each conclusion is based on a thorough examination and analysis of theoretical foundation and approaches presented in the scientific literature, as well as on the empirical data obtained, and reflects the author's own position. And the results presented in the conclusion contribute to resolving the research problem of substantiating and modeling the process of forming foreign language pragmatic competence of future English teachers through the use of Web 2 technologies, and the study also confirming the effectiveness and appropriateness of using Web 2 technologies in the development of pragmatic competence of future English teachers. 5.3, the technological solution proposed in the dissertation are novel and well substantiated, so it is completely new. The study presents a model for the formation of foreign language pragmatic competence of future English teachers through the use of Web 2 technologies implemented via the author's course, English in Context, Communicating with Pragmatic Awareness, on the NEAPORT and platform. Criteria number 6, validity of the main conclusions. Number 6, the main findings of the study are sufficiently substantiated. The validity of the first and second research results is ensured through an extensive review and analysis of the scientific and pedagogical literature, practical development, and the experience of both Kazakhstani and international scholars in the field of the forming pragmatic competence of future specialists, as well as through the consideration of the lingua-didactic potential of Web 2 technologies in education. And the substantiation of the third result is further supported by the development and theoretical grounding of a model for the formation of foreign language pragmatic competence of future English teachers through the use of Web 2 technologies. The validity of the fourth result is confirmed through the organization and implementation of experimental pedagogical work, which yielded evidence of its effectiveness. Criteria number 7, main provisions submitted for defense. are proven. 7.1, all 4 provisions submitted for defense have been substantiated. 7.2, all 4 provisions submitted for defense are new. 7.3, all 4 provisions submitted for defense are non-trivial in nature. And 7.4, the applicability level of 4 provisions is broad. And the research findings can be effectively applied in teaching various aspects of pragmatic competence within English language education. 7.5, the provisions submitted for defense are reflected in the author's publication. The main provisions, results, conclusions, and overall findings of the dissertation are confirmed by the author's published works. Criteria number 8, principle of reliability of sources and presented information. 8.1, yes, the choice of methodology is well justified, described in sufficient detail, and ensures the validity of the research results. 8.2, yes, to achieve the research aim and objectives, as well as to verify the research hypothesis, the following set of theoretical and empirical methods was employed: analysis and systematic review of psychological, pedagogical, scientific, and methodological literature, as well as regulatory and instructional documents, methods of comparison of modeling, diagnostic surveys and testing, a pedagogical experiment, and statistical method, including students' t-test, science rank test, and the McNemar test, and like scale analysis with data processed using Excel. Number 8.3, the theoretical conclusion assumptions identified relationships and regularities have been substantiated and confirmed through experimental research. A model for the formation of foreign language pragmatic competence of future English teachers based on Web 2 technologies has been developed. The component structure of pragmatic competence has been refined. Pragmatic markers serving as a basis for the formation of pragmatic competence have been identified, and the content of instruction aimed at developing pragmatic competence has been specified. The linguodidactic properties of Web 2 technologies that support the formation of pragmatic competence have been determined, and the effectiveness and appropriateness of using Web 2 technologies in the formation of pragmatic competence of future English teachers have been substantiated, and the results have been validated through a pedagogical experiment. 8.4, the thesis and arguments proposed by the researcher in the dissertation are supported by reference to relevant and reliable scientific literature. 8.5, the author uses a sufficient number of sources for the literature review. Criteria number 9, principle of practical value. 9.1, the high theoretical significance of the study lies in enriching pedagogical science with knowledge about the theory and practice of forming foreign language pragmatic competence of future English teachers through the use of Web 2 technologies, and the author specifies and deepens scientific understanding of the nature of pragmatic competence as a component of foreign language communicative competence, as well as of the methodological approach to its development. 9.2, the dissertation has clear practical significance, and there is a high potential for the application of its results in educational practice. And the following outcomes have been developed and implemented in the instructional process: the study guide, interlanguage pragmatics, raising pragmatic awareness in the EFL classroom, and the course pragmatic awareness raising course, aimed at developing the pragmatic competence of future English teachers. In addition, methodological recommendations for the formation of pragmatic competence of future English teachers through the use of Web 2 technologies have been proposed, and the study also offers an assessment framework, including a diagnostic toolkit based on discourse completion tasks, DCT, and analytical developed rubrics for evaluating pragmatic comprehension and production, which can be applied in both formative and summative assessment. and the results of the research may be effectively used in the development of curricular courses and elective modules in English language education. 9.3, the model for the formation of foreign language pragmatic competence of future English teachers based on Web 2 technologies developed by the researcher presents novel contribution to educational practice. Criteria number 10, quality of writing and formatting. The dissertation is characterized by a clear and academically appropriate style of presentation and demonstration, demonstrates a high quality of academic writing. Criteria number 11, comments on the dissertation. While acknowledging the sufficiently high quality of the research and its results, it's considered necessary to note the following. The first, the range of Web 2 tools employed is appropriate. However, broader comparison with alternative digital tools could strengthen the generalize the use of findings. The second one, while the dissertation presents substantial empirical data, a more detailed discussion of the potential limitations of integrating Web 2 technologies in diverse educational contexts would further enhance the practical applicability of the study. Criteria number 12 is number 13, decision of the official reviewer according to the clause 28 of the current standard regulations. In conclusion, the dissertation by Ayjan Bulatovna Nabiyeva entitled Formation of Foreign Language Pragmatic Competence of Future English Teachers through the use of Web 2 technologies submitted for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy PhD in the educational program AD01702, Foreign Language, 2 foreign languages, represents a relevant, independent, and completed research study and meets the established requirements. In this regard, we confirm that doctoral student Ayjan Bulatovna Nabiyeva deserves awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the field of educational program Foreign Language, 2 foreign languages. Official reviewer, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, acting associate professor of the Department of Theory of Foreign Languages and Gumilev Evrish National University in Astana, Nurjanova Jaynash Jumahmetovna. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Jayna Jumahmetovna. Thank you for your accepting our invitation to be an official reviewer, and thank you for your view. Ayjan Bulatovna, do you read the review of the official reviewer? Good. Would you like to respond or comment, please?
Thank you, Jayna Jumahmetovna. I would like to express my sincere gratitude for your valuable comments and recommendations, which contributed to improving the quality and practical significance of the dissertation. Response to the comment 1, the first comment, thank you for your recommendation regarding the broader comparison of Web 2 technologies with alternative digital tools, and the selected Web 2 tools were chosen in accordance with the objectives of the study and the pedagogical potential required for developing foreign language pragmatic competence. But at the same time, the revised dissertation additionally acknowledges the inclusion of a wider range of digital tools that may further strengthen the generalizability of the findings of future research. Response to comment 2, thank you for your important comment regarding the limitations of integrating Web 2 technologies in diverse educational contexts. In response to your recommendation, the dissertation was revised to include a more detailed discussion of potential limitations, including differences in students' digital literacy, technical accessibility, and institutional conditions, as well as the possible directions for future research and implementation. Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is given to the official reviewer, Yaroslav Kraika, PhD, Associate Professor at the Department of Applied Linguistics, Maria Curie-Skłodowska University. Please.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'm more than honored to be given the opportunity to be a reviewer in Kazakhstan. And when I think about my experience of reviewing or supervising dissertations in Poland, Italy, Cyprus, and Georgia, The one that we are experiencing today, the one that I have had the pleasure to review, is outstanding in numerous areas. Before I present the contents of my review, I would like to say that the candidate made an excellent contribution to the field of applied linguistics, mainly because of the fact that she successfully brought together three very important areas: intercultural pragmatics development, competence development, task-based and autonomy-based learning, and Web 2.0 tools and blended learning. And when we think about these three areas, it's on purpose that I enumerate them in such an order, because for the candidate, intercultural pragmatics competence development is fundamental. The development is done through a highly successful pedagogical model framed in task-based and autonomy-based learning approaches. And computer tools are only the vehicle, are only the means to achieve those two previous purposes, which is not that frequent, because sometimes, or in many cases, researchers put the implementation of certain computer tools in the foreground, also, which is perhaps not that wise, given the fact that we know how fast computer tools are changing, and it may be the case that certain tools, certain applications might have a very short life. So in this sense, I express my admiration for the design, for the dissertation topic, for the research aim, especially as far as the priorities of those three foci are concerned. So the highly innovative topic goes together with empirical investigation. The empirical investigation, which is properly designed, properly conducted, the wealth of data are processed using appropriate statistical measures, with high level of independence shown in the dissertation. The author was solely responsible for designing, executing research, collecting, analyzing data, but also, again, I would like to stress this, selecting computer tools and preparing the experimental study environment. So we see here a wide competence of the candidate in quite a number of areas. If we think about the relevance of the dissertation, it poses important research questions, which lead to the specification of the impact of Web 2.0 assisted pragmatic competence development in higher education institutions in Kazakhstan. But of course, if we think about wider, more universal impact, pragmatic competence development in teacher training in a number of countries would be more than welcome. So I'm sure that if we see the dissertation slightly perhaps improved and upgraded and published in a book with an international publisher, it will surely be of great interest and great use in a number of teacher training contexts, including the Polish one. Because, just as I said, it strives to achieve important purposes of investigating and assessing the impact of the innovative use of Web 2.0 applications operationalized in a course on pragmatic competence development. When we look at the content of the dissertation, it fully covers the selected problems. There are no sections that would be outside the main line of argumentation or that would be irrelevant for the discussion. And the aims and objectives adopted are fully covered in both theoretical and empirical parts. I have some objections as far as the structure of the dissertation is concerned. The current format of very few sections only on the main level with no subsections results in only partial coherence and limited readability of the study. And if we were to think, if the candidate were to think about publishing the dissertation as a book, the structure would definitely need to be improved by increasing the number of subchapters, subsections, indicating more clearly the topic of discussion in particular places in order to improve readability and in order to improve coherence of the argumentation. Just as I mentioned before, the dissertation is highly innovative in a number of aspects, most importantly selection, combination and didactization of selected Web 2.0 tools in a course oriented at developing pragmatic competence. The scientific results and provisions are new, especially in the field of pedagogical application of selected tools, and especially in terms of systematic development of pragmatic competence, which, just as I mentioned before, is rather rare, especially in teacher training programs. The conclusions are new, especially in the area of computer-assisted development of the selected competence, technological solutions as well, although if we think about Web 2.0 tools, if we think about blended learning, these solutions have been with us for more than 20 years now, and which of course might be seen as a kind of negative point, as a kind of objection. But on the other hand, the candidate successfully convinces us that even the tools that have been around for a number of years can be successfully, can be efficiently implemented in an educational program, and we clearly see that the effects, that the impact of the intervention is not driven in any way by the novelty effect, which would be the case if the candidate had adopted some state-of-the-art cutting-edge tools, such as, for instance, certain AI-powered environments. Conclusions are sufficiently backed up by properly collected, selected, analyzed, and interpreted data items. I would like to stress a very solid foundation of well-selected theoretical frameworks that are summarized in the first chapter of the thesis. The choice of methodology is fully justified, described in sufficient detail. However, what I lacked at this point was a clearer description, a clearer specification of instrumentation, as well as addressing issues of reliability and ethical concerns. On the other hand, the dissertation is very strong in terms of data processing. So the collected data were subject to advanced statistical processing, not only descriptive, but also inferential. The tests selected were appropriate, relevant, well applied, discussed, properly represented in graphical form. The pedagogical experiment, just as I said, is well designed, conducted and analyzed. The whole research experience shows the author as a fully responsible and knowledgeable and independent researcher. And because of the proper design of the experimentation, obviously the dissertation is very strong in terms of conclusions, so both interpretative statements, conclusions, pedagogical recommendations, because they are so well backed up by own data, can be made strong and can be made important enough to be observed and to be listened. The literature review has been conducted based on the consultation of a great number of well-selected sources. we clearly see the distinction between the quoted input and the author's interpretation reflection. The range of sources is exhausted, highly current, has wide geographical coverage, and is also interdisciplinary in nature, which is not that obvious because bringing together a number of different spheres requires also skill in balancing different kinds of sources and different areas of scholarship. So summing up, the dissertation has both theoretical and practical value. The recommendations on the development of pragmatic competence in Web 2.0 environments are highly useful, well phrased, properly adapted to the conceptual level of language teachers. And I hope that once improved, especially in terms of structure, in terms of adding those minor parts, minor aspects, as far as the design that I mentioned before, they will be the research will be an important signpost, an important element for formation of for teacher training programs. In terms of quality of writing and formatting, while I appreciate the extent of the work, while I appreciate the extent of the study, I have to mention occasional errors, minor problems with spelling of authors' names, or lack of consistency in abbreviating CFR, for instance. As far as the contents of the dissertation, one particularly weak, in my opinion, part of the dissertation was the review of course books used in Kazakhstan. I would see this, a systematic course book review, as a valid data collection method. So I would conduct it systematically. I would use a uniformed guiding tool. I would discuss and report it properly in chapter 2. Of course, this systematic course book review would not be as important as the very experimentation, but this is also a data collection method, so I would describe it in chapter 2. I would see it as supplementary to the main research method of experiment, rather than put it somewhere at the end of chapter 1 with very little detail. So I think that this is the area of dissertation that could be expanded, and the systematic course book review could actually be upgraded to the status of a supplementary research method. Overall, I would like to conclude that the presented dissertation addresses an important educational problem and manages to solve it in a unique and creative way. Therefore, it fully deserves conferring the candidate the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the educational program Foreign Language to Foreign Languages. Additionally, just as I mentioned, after certain work, after incorporating the comments of both supervisors and reviewers, I think that the dissertation deserves publishing given its educational and innovative value. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Yaroslav Kraika, dear Yaroslav Kraika. Thank you for your accepting of our invitation to be official reviewer, and thank you for your work and for your review. Ayjan Polatova, please, your comments.
Dear Professor Yaroslav Kraika, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for your valuable comments and recommendations, which contributed to improving the quality and clarity of the dissertation as well. So if to respond to the comments, thank you for your careful attention to the technical and structural aspects of the dissertation. The spelling inconsistency and formatting issues identified in the review have been corrected throughout the text. And regarding the structure of the dissertation, the organization of sections was prepared in accordance with the university formatting and norm control requirements. Nevertheless, additional revisions were made to improve the coherence and readability of the study. And thank you for your recommendation regarding the review of course books used in Kazakhstan for teaching pragmatic competence. In the present study, the course book review was incorporated into the theoretical literature review in Chapter 1 rather than presented as a separate research method in Chapter 2. This approach was chosen intentionally to demonstrate existing methodological gaps in pragmatic instruction within the Kazakhstani EFL context to substantiate the need for integrating Web 2 technologies into pragmatic competence. But I think that it would serve for further as the further investigation area for future. Thank you.
Ajahn Bulatna, thank you. Dear colleagues, the official reviewers have finished their presentations. Who would like to share their opinion of this dissertation? Please. The floor is given to Gulnur Smagulova, Associate Professor, Head of Chair.
Dear members of the Dissertation Council, dear colleagues and doctoral students, let me say some words in support of Nabiyeva Ajahn Bulatovna. Ajahn Bulatovna, in my humble opinion, is one of the brightest examples of her alma mater graduates that can present her university at the new status as the National Research Higher Educational Institution. So she really can represent its institution on the high level. So Ajahn Bulatovna is one of the leading highly qualified senior lecturers of the Department of Translation Theory and Practice. And with the consistently high standards to your own teaching activity and the students' achievements and work with the high level of mastery Kazakh, English, and Russian languages. And all of us witnessed how she was developing as a teacher, then as a senior teacher, with the pedagogical component of your personality. And then we saw how consistently and hard she was working on your dissertation research under the wise guidance of your supervisor, Tatiana Yurievna, fostering your research abilities. And today's defense, I guess, is the product of this tandem of the supervisor and the doctoral student that allowed us to see not only some significant results, but also witness the formation of a young researcher, who's really worthy of being awarded the doctoral degree. As for the dissertation topic of Ajahn Bulatovna, let me note that it's one of the controversial issues in the modern lingual didactics, both from the point of view methodological definition and in terms of its assessment and evaluation, being very objective to evaluate due to its social cultural character and the context. And the observing the research, I want to say some words about your comprehensive approach to the research design. So your research, I guess, can contribute significantly to our domestic lingual didactics in terms of systematization and categorization of the pragmatic foreign language pragmatic competence. Yeah, we see the whole and comprehensive notion and the understanding of this phenomena. And then I want to outline your approach to the assessment of this pragmatic competence and the choice of mixed design. Yeah. So and the way she validated the results achieved by the cross usage of qualitative and quantitative methods, and the way she described methodologically substantiated all the algorithm of your experiment, and the way she used these methods can be really the example of the way how the doctoral student should really work on his or her dissertation, and can be the model on which we can teach our doctoral students. Yeah, and I guess the research in this term can be one of the examples and the tools we can use to demonstrate the high level of research performed. So thank you for your attention. I guess today's defense was one of the brightest and strongest defenses for the latest time. And as for the doctoral student's personality, I guess your personal qualities allowed her to achieve today's level, but much can be said also about your supervisor, Tatiana Yurievna, because your like wise and systematic guidance allowed Ajan achieve this like level and the significance for your time. So thank you.
Thank you, Gulnur Shomovna. Thank you. Dear colleagues, the floor is given to Umut Bjanna, please.
Dear members of the Education Commission, today I have got the pleasure from today's defense. Жан Булатовна is practical oriented. As internal reviewer emphasized, it's a really good work. All the parts of the dissertation is characterized by coherence. And I think that this work will make great contribution to the science, not only of Kazakhstan, but as was mentioned, to Poland and other countries. Ayjan Bulatovna is very persistent, hardworking, and today she managed to prove that everything which she had done in her work are characterized by evidence-based work. She tried to show it while realizing her aim and objectives. That is why, and also I want to add that Tatiana Yurievna, as a supervisor, she always directed her work, and both of them are graduates from our Karaganda National Research University. That's why I consider that Ayjan Bulatovna fully deserves the degree of a Doctor of Philosophy. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Matubjanna. Dear colleagues, let us finish the discussion. The final vote is given to the candidate Ayjan Bulatovna.
Respected Chairperson of the Dissertation Council, distinguished members of the Dissertation Council, respected temporary members of the Council, official reviewers, colleagues and guests. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Chairperson, Academic Secretary, and all members of the Dissertation Council for your time, attention, and valuable evaluation of my research. I would also like to especially thank the temporary members of the Council for agreeing to participate in the defense and for coming to support and evaluate this dissertation research. My sincere gratitude also goes to the official reviewers for agreeing to review my dissertation, for carefully reading the study, and for providing valuable comments, recommendations, and professional feedback that help improve the quality of the dissertation. I would like to express my deepest appreciation to my scientific supervisor, Tatiana Yurina Shelistova, and my foreign scientific supervisor, Professor Janusz Taburek, for their continuous support, guidance, encouragement, and invaluable academic assistance throughout all stages of my doctoral research. Thank you very much for your attention and support.
Thank you, Ayjan Bulatovna. Thank you. We move to the next stage of the meeting. We need to choose one person to count the votes after the secret voting. The acting academic secretary, Valeria Alexeyevna, is proposed. Who is in favor? Who is against? Good. For the secret voting, please follow the link and fill in the ballot in the Google form. The completed ballots will be sent to the Google account. A short break is announced for the secret voting. Only members of the Dissertation Council should stay in the meeting. All other participants are kindly asked to leave the meeting and join again in 10 minutes.
Dear colleagues, permanent members of Dissertation Council and also invited members of Dissertation Council should vote, as well as reviewers, but no scientific advisors, supervisors. And the links
Вот и порепетируйте Гульнас Кашкембаевна перед Америкой. Я говорю, вот и порепетируете перед Америкой английский. А что делать? Also. Нормально, хорошо группа языковая одна, не с китайским какая-нибудь, а то вы вообще бы... Я да. Кстати, Гульнас Кашкембаевна, простите, так оно с микрофоном и ничего не наладилось. Мы ничего не слышали, кто был в онлайне, с тех, кто говорил из зала. Мне кажется, раньше было слышно. Ну. Ну, вон я там, да, там же что он показано у вас? Голосовавшие, нет? Я проголосовала, отправила форму.
Colleagues, the floor is given to the acting academic secretary to announce the results of the secret ballot.
Okay, guys, according to the results of the secret ballot conducted via Google Forms during dissertation defense of E.А.Букетова Nabиева on the topic formation of foreign language pragmatic competence of future English teachers through the use of Web2 technologies within the educational program foreign language to foreign languages, a total of 8 votes were cast. Of these, 8 votes were in favor of awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy PhD, 0 votes were cast for revision of the dissertation, 0 votes were cast for redefense, and 0 votes were cast for refusing to award the degree. There were no votes against and no abstentions.
Thank you. Thank you. I propose to approve protocol number 2 of the secret ballot. Please vote. Colleagues, who opposed the proposal? Who is against? No. Do we support? So, thank you, thank you. The decision is unanimous. The Dissertation Council at Karaganda National Research University named after Buketov for the educational program Foreign Languages to Foreign Languages recommends awarding Ayjan Bolatovna Nabiyeva the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in this program, based on the successful defense of her dissertation and right formation of foreign languages pragmatic competence of future English teachers through the use of Web 2 technologies. Our congratulations. According to the requirements of the Committee of Quality Assurance in Science and Higher Education of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan, it's necessary to adapt the Council's conclusions of the dissertation of Ayjan Bolatovna Nabiyeva. The draft conclusion and classification characteristics of the dissertation are in front of you, dear colleagues. We must discuss the draft of conclusions. So, classification features of the dissertation. Nature of the dissertation results. 1.1, 1.2. What do you mind? What do you see?
1.1, yeah?
1.1. Level of novelty of the dissertation results. 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, huh? 2.1. Good. Value of the dissertation results. 3.1, 3.2, 3.3.
Maybe 3.2?
3.2, yes.
You should be.
Yes, yes. 4, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. 4.3, yes?
Initiative research work,
Huh?
I think.
Инициативная, да. Yes?
Okay.
Yes. 5, 5.1, 5.2. What do you mean? 5.4? What do you, yes? Fine, 5.4. 6 recommendations for the use of dissertation results. Yeah, 6.1, 6.1. Yes. So, thank you for your work, dear colleagues. Thank you for thank you to our scientific supervisors, to our official reviewers, to members of Dissertation Council. We finished our work. Thank you. I wish you good luck and professional success.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Все, отключайте, боже мой, боже мой.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Запись отключите, пожалуйста.